Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Well, it can miss by a mile there, as long as it doesn't miss here. Okay, so bring this out just a little bit. That looks pretty good. Just a little bit more. Oops. Yeah, we're good. And this one wants to come in just a little. Come on. And that's pretty good. We're a little short on this end, but hey, well, short is okay. Alright, I think I want to kind of pre-grind that just a little bit. Couldn't ask for better. Well, you could ask for. Alright, that looks pretty good. This next step is to cut little pieces of angle iron to make a platform for that cover to sit on, and then eventually we drill holes in it and bolt it in place. A lot of running back and forth to the saw and to the grinder to adjust the angles and adjust the length, because of course each one of them is custom. And here we pull out the old arc welder because the connection between that half-inch plate and the bottom plate is really critical. There's a lot of pressure that goes against this, and we all know that arc welders are stronger. Well, at least I think they are. Well, Nick Collier here again, and we're on the last of the gearboxes, and what I have to do is I have to come in and seal off this entire inside line and the inside line behind the angle iron. So we're going to weld those up this morning, and then I'm going to come in and attach this to the base plate and get that squared up, and then see what we can do from there. So follow along, we're going to do some welding. Okay, so we've got our interior welded, and really that welding was only so that the grease couldn't get out. No strength there. Basically all the strength is in this half-inch material connected to this plate, to this 3/16 plate. Now what we have to do is come up with a square surface, and that sucker is way off. So I think what we're gonna do, we've got it squared up this way. Now we need to square it up that way. And there is square. That's going to leave a good half-inch. That's not good. Okay, so we've got the thing squared up to the plate and welded in place, and I had to pull this piece out in order because it was totally askew. So what we're going to do now is we're going to replace that piece, and let's see if we can find a tape measure. There's one. And so it looks like 12 1/4. So we're going to cut a 12 1/4 piece, and this side at 45, and this side I'm not sure what that angle is, but it's not 45, and we'll dink around with that until we get it right. Okay, so we've got 6 seals that we have to build, and we are, boy, that is really close. Look at that. So what we have to do is we're going to cut 1 inch, and then we're going to trim it back, and then get a nice seal fit on the inside of this. So we have to cut 6 of these. So let's cut. All right, 6 more of those and we're set. 5 more of those. So we needed to rotate this until we got it as close as possible to concentric because the measurement in here and the measurement in the seal is about, oh, I don't know, 5 or 7 thousandths. So it could almost fit just like this. So we're going to take just this little bit of a skim off of that. And we're all set up to do that. So let's run her in and see how close we got. Pretty good. See, we've skipped several times in this, but it's not a critical thing because when we put it in, we're going to go ahead and you know, put some Permatex on it or something like that. And it really doesn't take a whole lot of pressure against the seal, and it really is to seal out grease. So, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So we'll take this one out and figure out how to take off all of this little scrappy stuff. And I think we can just kind of get that. Do the next one. I don't know, that one's pretty close. got about a quarter of it that's skipped. It is what it is. And we just come in and clean off some of that scrappy stuff. And I think everything will be fine. So this one, we got almost half of it has skipped. But as I said, and you know, and I could have bought a little bit thicker material, but the next jump was, this was quarter wall, next jump was half wall, and I just couldn't do it. It just was just one step too far. And it, as I said, it is a seal, and it's it goes in tight, and it seals grease, so it isn't like we're trying to seal a transmission seal or something like that. All right, on to the next next part of this project. Okay, well, next thing we have to do is we need to attach these little sleeves to the bottom of the carriage, and but the sleeve needs to stand off by about a quarter inch, just so we can get the shaft through there. And you know, I'll show you exactly what that is a little bit later. So we're going to weld this, flip it over and weld that, and then we'll end up welding this to the bottom of the carriage. So let's get started welding. Okay, well, we finally got the motor back. We had to literally send it out because it had no identifying tags on it. We had to send it out, have it torn apart, and inspected to find out what size motor it is, and if we can get replacements for it. And eventually we figured that one out. So we got the motor back, and now we're going to take our mounting rings, and we need to drill the small holes in them. So let's go over to the mill and drill those holes. All right, well, we got to take measurements of these holes. So basically we put the bolts back in, got them in there fairly snug, and it looks like we're sitting at 5 1/100,000ths. 5 inches 100 thousandths, yes. Okay, and then minus the size of the bolt, which is 625. Well, it's actually 620. 4 inches 480 thousandths. 480. And that should be center to center. Looks pretty good to me. And okay, so let's write that down so I don't forget. 4 inches 480 thousandths. And now we got to find our first hole, which would be, okay. We're looking at 557. 557. 557 minus half of the shaft, or half of the bolt, 620. All right, well, I just remembered that I want to go one size bigger on the drill, because I'm going to weld this in, and all I need is the threads to keep the stud straight. So one size bigger. And let's see what we got. Just a little bit. Oops, that's a bottom tap. We're not going to use that. Okay. Are we ready? Okay, number one. Okay, so we've got our bolts, or our stud holes tapped, and we've got our studs in. Let's flip this over and see if it's gonna fit. And it fits beautifully. Oops. No. It fits beautifully, but the larger ring doesn't fit, which is not a big deal. We can throw it on the lathe and trim that out a little bit more, and I think we'll be set to go. So that's good. That takes us to the next step. We'll be back.